want to talk today. Yeah. So anyway, okay, my name's Bruce. If you find this at all useful, please subscribe. And if you find this at all entertaining, please subscribe. I don't know. And there discussion of Canada. I don't know if this is going to say, but this part of Canada. Alberta. Okay, Alberta. And working in the province of Alberta. Now, I worked in the province of Alberta in a couple of capacities. One capacity was in the exploration for and development of petrochemical, oil and gas development, and I was kind of I had a disproportionate amount of influence relative to my what I really deserved, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and one of the things that would happen in my career there was we were doing projects. Okay, now here's a little story. Is I was in the meeting where it was determined that offshore oil and gas should happen in the province of Newfoundland, and the Hibernia project, and that was just sort of a funny thing. And there was a few of us in this meeting. I think there were 7 people there. It was very, very early in my career. The discussion was, whether or not to proceed with the Hibernia project, and a vote was taken, and it was determined yes. Okay, but that's I'm just throwing that in as a little bit of comic relief, but that's true. That's a thing. Anyway, but later I worked in other capacities in the petrochemical industry in the province of Alberta, in the province of Saskatchewan, and in the province of British Columbia. And so in these my role is that we're doing projects. I was like the meetings guy. I was in a lot of meetings and such. And the thing about meetings and budgets and determination of advancement of projects is, and this is the important part, that you can take for wherever you happen to be, is that the people that were involved in these projects were serious people. The projects were serious projects. And at the core, we understood that they were going to take a lot of resources, a lot of time, and commensurately a lot of budget, a lot of money. And, some of them would be, a number would be like $25 million. Some of them would be hundreds of millions of dollars, up to maybe $1 billion or something like this. And so we're going to embark on this project. It's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take a lot of money. And that's it. So then in the ensuing conversations, which would be the technical aspects of the projects, there'd be discussions of technical points. Technical point being, what does the geophysics say? Do we need more seismic information? Do we need, what are the geologists saying? Do we need more geological analysis of the things? What about the actual location of the item, the access? How are we going to build a road? How are we going to build a pipeline? How are we going to, once we have this done, what facilities will be needed? Facilities means all the equipment that's going to sit at the surface of a well that you've drilled, or it's going to be the facilities that are used to process the hydrocarbon into whatever it is you want. Okay, so it could be removing of hydrogen sulfide gas from the material that comes from the earth, and hydrogen sulfide gas is astonishingly toxic and poison and deadly. These are the discussions. This is a serious thing. How are we going to achieve the technical goals? What is it? Now, I'm saying this because in the discussions regarding the technical objectives of the project, at no point really would the discussion of finance occur. Would the budget overrun be mentioned? Would the whatever? Because at the onset, there was a decision that we're going to do it, and everybody knew it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of money to achieve the objective, and there's going to be pitfalls and hiccups along the way, and it's just going to mean there's going to be problems, we're going to solve them, we're going to go forward. That's it. And then later, much later, like 30 years later or something, I'm in another meeting with regarding a internet web project, and one of the participants in the meeting was a sort of a well-known Canadian lawyer, and he said, well, before we move forward, we all have to be, there's a legal term we have to have, it's called ad idem. Ad idem, it means one mind. One mind. So the first thing we're going to make sure is that we're all on the right page to proceed. And once we all understand what it is we're going to do in their core here, then everything else is kind of bookwork and accounting and solving issues. Okay. And that's another paraphrasing of what I'm describing in this in my Western Canadian Alberta petrochemical projects. Okay, that this was the idea. Okay, and this is, I'm speaking high, and if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm speaking highly of the mindset with respect to Alberta petrochemical industry. I hold these people in high. These people, what a phrase, but I hold everyone that I met, almost everyone that I had interaction with, almost in the highest of regard. These are professional people concerned with doing the job well and doing the job properly. Okay, that's a thing. Now, later, I shifted a bit here. We moved to a different part of Canada, working in other industries. Okay. Now, over here, I'm gonna do a little description. I shifted. I shifted to elsewhere in Canada. Canada. That's bad. But Canada and the U.S. of A. I shifted. I was working here, and I was working in a consultative capacity, which means that you're kind of the hired authority, or really you're the hired person to blame. I don't know, but I could paint it a different picture. But there, I worked in a myriad of industries: beverages, spirits, food production. We made cars. We made car parts. We made transportation projects. We made airports. We made other industry, which was we're making kind of some consumer goods and such. And my job was to be, I'd get hired through my firm. I'd be hired and I'd be offered up as an authority on whatever it was that someone needed to be an authority upon. And now, I hope that this is kind of humorous, because it's meant in a humorous way, but I don't want to belittle the seriousness with which I regarded the people that I was with and the task at hand. Because I would be hired to do something. Now, I had a general, when I say general, I mean a lot of education in areas. And then what I would do is I'd take my general education and I would become a person obsessed. And I would learn everything that I could possibly learn about everything that was available to learn about the specific issue that's being in the beverage industry. If you want to talk about the physical mixtures of carbon dioxide and water, which is very important if you had to be making beer, then I'm your man. Okay, but anyway, now I'm working as a consultant, and we're going to be in a lot of meetings. Okay, remember I said over here I'm in the petrochemical world. I'm meetings. I wrote Alberta, but there's more than Alberta. And over here I'm working not in Alberta. I'm working in various states, United States, and provinces of Canada, and we're doing things that are not in the petrochemical industry. Now, this is what would happen. We'd be having a meeting. We would come up against a technical challenge. There'd be a problem that was hitherto unimagined. There'd be an I'm trying to decide whether how specific I could be. I could tell specific stories about specific things, but the important thing here is a general idea. Okay, so in the meeting, and there's a technical problem that would come up. It's a technical thing. I mean, it's something that requires some engineering assessment, an analysis of forces, an analysis of circuitry, an analysis of structure, analysis of flows of material, analysis of discrete movements of material, analysis of these things. Yes, and invariably, this item of budget would come up. There'd be discussions about money. It would happen, always. Now remember, the other thing, there was no talking about money. This thing seemed to be lots of talking about money. And then we'd do an assessment and analysis and all that stuff and say, okay, in this situation, up against these problems, this is what we must do, and these are the laws that apply, these are the regulations that apply, these are the industry standards that govern this activity. Industry standards are kind of related to laws and regulations, but they're not exactly. I mean, I can do a whole other speech about that, but anyway, okay, this would happen. Then you say, this is what you must do. And then it seemed like almost every single time, someone would say, well, wait a second. What happens if we don't? What can we get away with? What if we really, what they're saying is, what if we get caught? What if we get caught? Now, if you've been following these videos for a long time, or if you know me personally, you know that I have a little tiny bit of maybe a flaw of character, but I don't deal well with deviations from regulation. You know, this idea. Right? I have a real mental quandary with half measures. So this question of what if we don't? Oh, that would invariably result in, like, for me, 48 or 72 hours of not sleeping and trying to, you know, it was hard. And on a couple of occasions, I mean, in one particular occasion, I was doing some work and it involved private planes and jets, private jets. I'd go to the private airport and fly off in the private jets and land in other private places and have personal customs entry into other countries and such. And you know, you're getting up early and stuff. So I found myself in my normal pattern, and it's the spot I would go for breakfast. And at the door to the place where I would go for breakfast, and it was closed. And I was like, what is closed? Why is it closed? The reason it was closed was because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd gotten up at 1:15 midnight and got showered and dressed and shaved and put my suit on and my tie. Yes, believe it or not, I would wear suits and ties and heading off. But this stress of this conflict that was one of the defining aspects of some of these meetings was personally affecting me in a big way. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because, or the raison d'etre for this video, what I thought was I wanted to say to the world and to my audience that there's problems facing us as a society. Quite often those problems will have a technical solution or a change of a mode of method, and it will require energy and resource and effort. And the correct question is not, what can we get away with? Almost ever. Okay? Not what can we get away with. And if you go back, you know that ostensibly I want my videos to be, my message to be about the principles of kind of economics and some science related to economics coming to, and social policy broadly. And hence, and yeah. So anyway, okay, my name's Bruce. If you find this at all useful, please subscribe. And if you find this at all entertaining, please subscribe. I don't know. And there you are. And oh, by the way, I was responsible for, kind of in a way, for the largest marijuana growing operation in Canadian history. There you go. And if you want that story, stay tuned. Yes. Okay. Oh, and by the way, that was before it was a legal entity. Okay. Bye.